Hey everyone, it's Missy. Welcome to my channel. I again forgot to plug in my microphone, so I'm not going to do it to you guys again with a video with horrible audio. So basically in my intro today, I was just saying it was a rainy, cold day in Virginia, making me think of fall, which makes me think of freezer meals, and I wanted to restock my freezer with freezer meals over the next couple weeks. So in this video, I'm doing 3 of my favorite beef recipes, which are beef enchiladas, beef tater tot casserole, and beef lasagna. Okay friends, so I'm going to start by getting all this ground beef done. Like I said, I have 5 pounds of grass-fed ground beef, which I find I don't really need to drain. For some reason it's more lean, there really isn't that much fat, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to get one of the biggest pans I have here. I'm going to get this going on high heat, and then I'm just going to unwrap all these and chunk them in here. So all the recipes have their own seasoning, but I'm just going to hit this with just a little bit of salt and pepper at this point. And I'm going to be using this tool right here. I got this on Amazon, I think. I don't know. I've seen it at Walmart as well. Some of them have, this one just has 4, some of them have more blades, but it makes this so much easier. You could also just break this up with a wooden spoon, obviously, but something about this goes really fast. So I just realized that I'm going to need tomato sauce for my lasagna, and sometimes I have spaghetti sauce in the cabinet, sometimes I don't, and of course this is one of the times that I do not. So I'm going to show you my super fast spaghetti sauce that I make. I really need to do a video where I make this in mass quantities and jar it. I just have not done that, so I'm going to turn this down for a hot sec and get this pan going. And all I do is combine a jar of whole tomatoes, tomato sauce, some seasonings, let it simmer, and then I blend it with my blender stick, or boat motor, as my mom calls it. And it's delicious, but you can always use your favorite spaghetti sauce, make this go even faster. If I had thought about that yesterday when I was at the store, that's probably what I would have done. But I forgot, but that's okay. So there goes my whole tomatoes, and then I wish more cans did this pop top. I swear I look for cans that have this. It's so much easier. And then I'm just gonna use a little spatula to get that all in there. And then what I'm gonna do is grab my potato masher and just mash these whole tomatoes just to kind of give them a little bit of a head start. You can also use your hands too. Why didn't I think of that? I gotta wash this thing. I would have so done that. Just use your hands. Break it up. Obviously before this is hot. And then I'm just gonna let this go, I don't know, like a half hour or so. And what I put in mine is some garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning. That's it, nothing fancy. Salt and pepper. You can obviously add actual onion and garlic. I'm just trying to make this go fast. Oh my gosh, it's already bubbling on me. Okay, turn it down. So this is garlic. Italian seasoning. Pepper. Salt. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll just do my lasagna last. Let's give this time to do its thing. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to let that vent and do its thing. And let me check on this over here. I might actually have to strain this. This has got a lot going on. Okay, I'm going to call that done, so I'm just going to take that off. Actually, I'll switch burners here. So the next thing I'm going to do is for the tater tot casserole, you need condensed soup. I don't usually buy condensed soup. I just kind of make my own cream sauce, milk sauce, I guess, kind of. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm just going to switch burners here. Let me put this over here. Let's put this guy over here. Bring this over here. I'm just going to kind of cut this up a little bit to get this going. So basically what I'm making is called a bechamel sauce. Also how I make my macaroni and cheese as well. It's flour, butter, and then you add dairy to it. Why is this sticking to me? Okay. I might have wax paper on that. It's fine. So 6 tablespoons of butter, equal amount of flour. Also 6 tablespoons is like a 1/4 cup and then a 1/2 1/4 cup. So I'm not doing a tablespoon 6 times. I am too lazy for that. So here's a 1/4 cup and about a 1/2 of that. Oh, there better be 2 cups in here. Oh, cool. Okay. So try not to let this burn. I'm just mixing this for a hot second. This is kind of called a roux. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of salt and pepper. I don't have the patience for that grinder right now, so I'm using my table salt and pepper. I think I got this at Kirkland's a million years ago. Super cute. Okay. So we'll just mix this. And like I said, you can totally substitute the cream of. The recipe called for cream of mushroom for the this is for the beef tater tot casserole. You can use any of the cream ofs. Cream of chicken, cream of celery. Okay, so then I'm just gonna try to slowly add my milk here. And this is whole cow milk. I have also done this with almond milk. My husband probably didn't know that. And I'm trying to just go slow because I don't really want to get lumps in here. And then I'll just put the whole thing in there. And then all I'm doing is heating this up. Once it starts to boil, it'll thicken, and that's what I want. I did turn this on high, so I kind of want to babysit it to make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom. And this should go pretty fast. Let's see. Makes a liar out of me. And you can see it's getting thick, and all I'm waiting for is this to bubble, and I can, or boil rather, and I can feel it with my whisk when it does, or if it gets ridiculously thick. I do have to say you want to be careful with this because it will bubble, and these splatters hurt. I know that from personal experience, so just be careful. See how thick it's getting? And I know it's going to start bubbling in a second. Here we go. See it bubbling? Okay, so that's done. And then you can see how much thicker it is, and it's going to thicken as it cools too. So I'm going to pour this right back in that Pyrex so it can cool down a smidge while I get everything else ready, because I don't necessarily want this molten hot when I start assembling stuff. So this first one could not be easier. This is like ridiculously easy enchiladas. I'm doing this with beef, but I've done it with shredded chicken as well, and it's so yum. You basically just need a pound of meat, 2 cans of enchilada sauce, a can of chopped chilies, your tortillas, and cheese, and that's it. We're gonna mix and assemble. So that's why I said a lot of these freezer meals are really just assembly. I'm trying to think of what I want to put these in. I am gonna split this into 2 freezing meals because really it's just me and my husband eating enchiladas. Paul's not eating enchiladas just yet. So I'm trying to think what pan I want to use. I think I'm gonna use the last two of these. They're a little bit smaller, and my whole thing is just a hot mess. So I'm not ready for those. Leave those over there, Missy. Okay, so let's bring my beef over. Also, if there's any left over of this, I'm just going to freeze it. It's fine. I am going to try to be a little anal. Let's see if I can weigh this. Okay. Oh, see that. There we go. I can see. Okay. So I'm just going to put a pound of beef in here. This has to be one of my favorites. It's so easy. pop this in the fridge the day before. They usually take about, depending on what you have in the filling, something like this, probably 12 hours in the fridge. It's thawed, it's fine. And then I'm gonna chuck this in the oven. I'll put the directions, I'll show you what I do for those. And then we would just have this with some salsa, sour cream, beans and rice, and or a salad. It'd be so good. Okay, so that's, let me get rid of this. It's not in the way. That's my ground beef. Okay, so then it's just assembly time. So there's my green chilies, and I don't drain them or anything, just tuck the whole thing in there. I am going to get my little spatula to make sure I get all these. I think actually I need to save one can. Hold on, let me see. I don't think it all goes in here. That's fine. It's talking about like a half a cup or something. I don't know. We're just gonna go with this. So I'm gonna leave one can out for the dish. I'm gonna put one in my beef. Break that guy up. And then I'll reserve one for the pan and to top it. And I'm just trying to see if I put the cheese inside. Okay, so it says to put the beef and cheese in separately. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna mix them all together, it's fine. 1.5 cups of shredded cheese. 1.5 cups of shredded cheese. We're cheese people, so. Let's save this little nugget for the top. Okay. Maybe that'll help thicken it up a little bit. Okay. Gorgeous. I'm gonna put this here for a sec. Let me go get my tortillas. So the recipe says 8. And I get these from BJ's. Did you know you can freeze these? They do. They work really well. So when we go, I just get a mess of them and check them in the freezer. We use them for all sorts of things. Breakfast burritos, which I need to do freezer meals on. These are the taco size, which we actually decided we don't like these for tacos. We like the fajita size, which is just a smidge smaller. But these are great for enchiladas. So I need 8. So I'm going to do 4, if these stop tearing, in each casserole dish. If they tear, it's fine. I'm not really worried. Another thing I like to do for freezer meals is put stuff away when I'm making them as I'm doing this, and it's not so overwhelming. So I'm trying to clean as I go. Okay, so assembly line is what I like to do here, and then I'll put them in the dishes. All right, so I'm gonna use my little 1/4 cup scoop from the sauce we made earlier and see what this looks like. I will also say that I use the mild enchilada sauce. There's also spicy ones you can do. And there is a green enchilada sauce, which is delicious. What did we do that with? I think I did that with the chicken. That came out so tasty. That would be good as well. Another reason why I like doing it this way, as opposed to making them and putting them in the dish, is I am not an even spreader. So if I start rolling them as I'm filling them, I'll get the first 2 will be like super full, and then the last one will have like absolutely nothing in it. Like this guy. So now I'm just going to roll, and I'm not going to burrito roll these because I actually want it to kind of ooh out the side. So actually I think I'm going to roll them out and put them right in the pans. So the directions say to put a little bit on the bottom of each one. So I'm going to do that and then top the rest as well. So I'm going to put about half this can between these two pans and then just kind of spread it all over the place. I've also seen recipes where you dip each tortilla in the enchilada sauce before you roll it, and I did that one time that made such a mess, so I am not doing that. Lots of times when I'm doing freezer meal day, I'll save one of these and we'll cook it up for dinner, but I actually have a shepherd's pie freezer meal from the other day leftover still in there. Okay, awesome, that looks good. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is take the half a can, the enchilada sauce that's left, and I'm just gonna kind of drizzle this on top of those. Okay, boom, done. Okay, so that little nugget of cheese, I'm just gonna split this between the two and just put some more on top. Other way. So I just wrapped them in plastic. This one I'm going to bake in the oven with the foil off, just open. So I'm going to do plastic first. If it's something that I wrap in foil when I cook it, I'll put a sheet of foil over that little bit right there, but I'm going to leave that open. And then I just twist it, so this is the part that was open before, and double wrap it so it's really in there. There's one. I will also say for small little dishes like these, I've seen people freeze them like this for about an hour till they get hard, and then this whole thing would fit in a freezer bag very nicely, but I don't want to waste the freezer bags. So I'm just using the foil and saran wrap. And then what I like to use is this heavy duty aluminum foil. I do have to say these are not going to last long. I don't even know if these will make it a month. So I'm going to wrap them once in the heavy duty aluminum foil. But if you think it's something that's freezer burn, or you've tried this before and it's gotten freezer burn, double wrap it in aluminum foil. I'm just being cheap. This stuff's not. This stuff's expensive. Okay, for freezer meal instructions, let's see, 8:29. So I'm going to put 8:29:20. So I know this will last about 3 months. So at the end of November, I definitely want to make sure we eat this one. Like I said, these will not last this long. And then I write the instructions just in case my husband needs to do these. I know to thaw these, but just in case he's doing them. So thaw it overnight in the fridge. 375 uncovered. What did that say? 20 to 25 min. I do have to say though, what I'd love to figure out a system is to put like a label here, so when they're stacked up in the freezer, I can easily see what they are. I have not done that yet, but that is on my list of things to do for the deep freezer. So I'm going to put these in the deep freezer. Okay, so I'm going back and forth with a couple things, but my sauce that we made earlier is probably done. So I'm going to blend this real fast so that can cool down. So I'm going to use one of these. My mom calls this a boat motor. I love that. This one's by Cuisinart, the Smart Stick. And I love it because I obviously don't need to whip out the huge blender. And then I throw this whole thing in the dishwasher, just this top piece, obviously. It makes my life so much easier. So just be careful when you're doing this. This is hot. Awesome, done. Pasta sauce. I'm gonna say that's probably 2 spaghetti jars worth. I think those are like 14, 16 ounces if I take a wild guess. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm gonna add the ground beef to this now so that it maybe will cool down a little bit. And I am going to pour that into the red sauce and try not to get it on me. And then here's that thing. I'm just using this to kind of mix it up. Okay, so that's our red sauce for lasagna. Good to go. It's screaming hot, so I'm gonna push that aside to cool down. Actually, let me get this out of the way. Put this over here. Okay, what's next? Tater Tot Casserole. Okay, so the original recipe that I'll post is from allrecipes.com, and it says tater tot casserole, but it's literally ground beef, salt and pepper, the can of condensed milk or condensed soup. You top that with cheese and you top that with tater tots. I have added to it. I usually add a bag of frozen vegetables because I like a lot more filling. It really wasn't that much to it the first time I made it, so I always make recipes the first time the way the recipe says, and then I add a bunch of stuff to it. So I'm going to add a bag of frozen veggies to mine. You can leave that out. And I have a ton of sweet potatoes, so I think I'm going to actually chop some up and throw them in here as well, just to add to it. My beef in here. Let's see how much this is. If there's a little left, I'll use it for something else during the week. Pasta dish or something. So I'm going to go ahead and add my frozen veggies to here. So frozen veggies mix I'm using is carrots, corn, green beans, and peas. It's the only way I can get my husband to eat peas. So, I'm going to add all of this right now. 8 open bags of frozen vegetables. They just get buried and I never use them. So that's 28 ounces. So to this, I'm just going to add a little salt, a teaspoon or so. And where did that go? Here it is. I'm just gonna add some pepper, like half a teaspoon. You can add more or less. What are you doing, Mo? You can't eat this. Sorry, my friend. Does it smell good? What do you smell the beef, don't you? That's what you smell. Okay. So I don't even know if I'm gonna add sweet potato to this now that I think about it. I think that's enough. Let's see. Okay. So that sauce we made earlier, the milk, butter, and flour, look how thick it is now. It looks just like the soup, right? Look. Okay. So we'll add this in there. It's still a little warm, but that's okay. It's not, I'm not worried about it like cooking the vegetables right now. Okay. Get all of that in there. Mix this guy up. And we're almost done with another one. Just gotta figure out how far this is gonna go. This is the worst spoon to be starting this with. Hold on. Make my life easier. Okay, so that's the mix. Now let me think how many I want to do this with. Let's start with 2. Okay, so let's see how far 2 pans takes us. And this looks really thick right now, but the veggies were frozen. That soup mix we made was kind of thawed out a little bit. Mostly is right here. If I drop any. Right, bud? Let's see. You probably could stretch this to 3. Maybe not. Get this all out here. And then we'll separate them between the 2. Well, this is better. So now all you do is you just cover the top in tater tots. Get scissors. So however you want to do this, you can just pour them on like this. Oh my god, I lost one. Or you can do what I'm going to do because I'm insanely anal and I have to line them all up. It just bothers me. How do I do this? I poured too many on here. All right. Well, I guess I don't need my mic because I'm going to fast forward this, I'm sure. Let's see. Oh my god, I forgot the cheese. Oh, god. All right. Plot twist. Never mind. Hold on. 2 cups of cheese. That's a lot. I don't know if we're gonna do that much. Let's see. So it's the recipe says to cover it with 2 cups of cheese. I feel like I should mix that in. I think next time I'll try mixing that in. So it's not just a layer of cheese, but it's all throughout. I feel like that would be even more delish. All right, so the recipe says 2 cups, whatever that is. And then I'll just bring these guys over here. How nice and satisfying that is. I don't think I can squeeze that one in there. Okay. Okay. So switch. And do the same thing to this guy. Also, I'll point out it's easier when you do these to do them all in one day, so you can get like bulk ingredients. Like this is a mega bag of cheese. It's a little bit cheaper than buying a whole bunch of little bags, unless they're on sale. That's what I usually do. And if these are on sale and I'm not ready to make dishes, you can just chuck this whole thing in the freezer. I will note that the recipe says to use cheddar cheese, but I was using this one, Mexican. Did someone wake up in your nap? Yeah. You sleepy? Okay guys, just like before, we're going to take the casseroles, I'm going to double wrap them in this saran wrap right here, and then I'm going to wrap them in the heavy duty aluminum foil. And then in Sharpie, I'm just writing the instructions. And I'll link the recipe below as well so you have them. Okay, so on to my just ridiculously easy beef lasagna. I'll have the recipe online as well. It's from Betty Crocker, except for I use ricotta cheese. Her recipe, or their recipe, uses cottage cheese. I'm blanking on what it's called here. So again, I'm using ricotta cheese. I'm putting an egg in there. Some people don't like the egg. I don't mind the egg, so I'm using it. And then some garlic powder. And a bunch of Italian seasoning here. I don't really measure, I kind of just chuck it in there. Some black pepper. I don't add salt because there's a lot of salt, I feel, in the Parmesan cheese and the mozzarella cheese, so I just leave that out. Then I give this a big mix. And here's that parm, or pecorino is actually what that is. Okay, so now it's just assembly here. So I'm putting my sauce on the bottom. And just kind of shaking that around. And I did not spray my pans either. You can do that too, I kind of just forgot. So then the other key to this is using no boil or ready to use noodles. So that's what I have here. And I just kind of shingle them over. It's okay if they overlap a little bit. I've never had a problem. And then what I like to do is do some of that ricotta mixture on next. And then smear that around as best you can. It's a little tricky with the noodles sticking. You can also use, if you want to be fancy, you can use an offset spatula. I'm just using the rubber spatula I was using to mix. And I feel like everybody kind of makes their lasagna differently. I like to make mine with a lot of mozzarella cheese. Some people don't, so you can get creative. It's your kitchen. You can do whatever you want. So you can see after on top of the ricotta cheese, I'm putting a mess of mozzarella cheese. And I'll also note that these are big bags that I get from BJ's, and then I just freeze them. So this cheese was frozen and it tastes totally fine. It melts totally fine. And then I could buy a whole bunch at once in preparation for making these freezer meals. You can see Mosley's looking to make sure I didn't drop any. So then on top of the cheese, I'm putting more sauce. And this really is so that you have liquid right below your noodles so that they can cook up properly. I have seen people just use regular lasagna noodles and just adding more sauce. I have not tried that yet. I feel like the no boil noodles are just so easy to find. And I don't know what I'm doing here. Probably talking to Matt or Paul. And again, just using those noodles to spread out my sauce. And then I'm deciding to actually put the noodles the opposite way. And then you're just kind of repeating. So more ricotta cheese. I'm going to use it up. I'm only doing 3 layers of noodles here in this dish because it's kind of shallow, but if you have a deeper dish, just keep going. Just keep going until you run out of ingredients, basically. So on top of the ricotta cheese, I'm just throwing on some more mozzarella cheese. Another layer of noodles. And you can see here I had to switch brands so the noodles look differently. It's totally fine. You make do with what you have. You can also see I'm breaking these noodles to fit because they're a little too long for this pan. And then on top of that, I'm putting the last of my sauce. Now, I used to always put mozzarella cheese on top of my lasagna, and I was watching another YouTuber binging with Babish, and they were making lasagnas and tested where they didn't do that. They just put the ricotta or the pecorino romano cheese or Parmesan cheese on top, and he said it was so good. So we tried it the last time. It actually wasn't bad, so that's what I'm doing here. But if you want to put mozzarella on your top layer, go right ahead. So here's that pecorino romano or Parmesan if that's what you prefer. And you're just sprinkling some on top. And just like the other two, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to wrap them twice in plastic wrap and then once in heavy duty aluminum foil. And I know I'm making these in August, but when it gets cooler in like October or November, these are going to be so amazing. On a nice cold day with a salad. It just makes getting dinner on the table so much easier. I love having freezer meals in the freezer. Well, friends, that's everything I had for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.